next game.
Yeah, of course. And I think this is pretty fitting. We have the last two Players' Cup champions. Azul winning Players' Cup 3, Alex winning Players' Cup 4. They both won with Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Alex sticking with it, but Azul switching over to Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. It's the Players' Cup 25th Anniversary Invitational, and we got the last two Players' Cup champions. Couldn't have drawn it up any better.
Yeah, it's going to be an excellent game. And these players have a lot of history. Back in 2016, I know these guys played in the regionals finals of Orlando Regionals, where Azul defeated Alex. That was actually Alex's first ever tournament in the Masters division. Alex was able to get second place in that tournament, which is an incredible feat, but Azul is the one who came out on top in that game. Let's get down to the table. I'm excited, Kyle. Hey, I made the prediction at the start that Alex would win this thing. Your prediction has already, unfortunately, lost out. Natalie, of course, played extremely well, but was unable to finish off the run. But do you have any predictions going into this finals? Will Azul be able to reset the bracket and force another match, or is Alex going to win this game?
Well, if you asked me like 2 seconds ago, I would have said Azul can do it, but he started with Dedenne GX, so...
Oh, yes.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I think Azul can do it. I think this is not as one-sided of a matchup as people would think. I think the Rapid Strike Urshifu deck is able to just win against pretty much anything, but I do think Azul is slightly favored being the Psychic-type deck. Yeah, we'll see if he can pull it off. He's got a lot of games ahead of him, though. As you said, it's a double elimination bracket. He's coming from loser's side, so he's going to have to beat Alex in 2 separate best-of-3s.
Alex, having a pretty decent start, does get the Sobble in the active and can get an attachment to the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Has a supporter for the next turn, but that only Sobble being that one Sobble being the only one he was able to get in play, definitely not ideal. The more Sobbles you can get in play, the quicker you can get to Drizziels, and the quicker you get to Drizziels, the quicker you get to Inteleon and start spreading damage with quick shooting.
Definitely, and earlier when these two players faced off, Azul had really awkward starts in pretty much every game. We'll see if it changes for him here. We've actually seen Azul a lot throughout the tournament, have some clunky draws here and there, is not able to get, that ideal turn 2 where you get 2 or 3 Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX in play, use all your Underworld Door abilities, and really get that momentum going. The Dedenne GX start obviously is very bad. That is one of the reasons why Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is so powerful. It preys on these low HP support Pokemon that give up multiple prize cards. Hits it for weakness, or even with the Passimian in Alex's deck, can hit that Dedenne GX on the bench for 150 damage. So anytime you have to start with this 2 prize liability, it hurts.
Oh, I'm sure Alex was very excited when Azul flipped over the Dedenne GX as the starter. I mean, sometimes you have to put it in play, right? To draw cards, your hand is bad, and you can only get bailed out by a quick ball for Dedenne. But when it's your only basic Pokemon in your opening hand and you have to start with it, nothing really feels worse than that, Kyle.
Definitely, but oh, no supporter card for Azul. Just has the attachment and gonna pass the turn. I wonder... will Alex play the Marnie? And yes, it seems like the answer pretty much every time in the Players' Cup has been, will the player use Marnie when their opponent hasn't played a supporter card? The answer is yes, once again. Now, Azul could have had, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX in hand and some Psychic Energy. You don't really know what he's sitting on, but always feels bad to give your opponent a new hand when they've clearly not played a supporter card.
It definitely feels bad, but I think it's one of those things where you're playing to win the game, right? You're not playing to not lose. You got to set up yourself. You got to get more Sobbles in play, try to find maybe another Rapid Strike Urshifu V. Even finding that Jirachi GX is a key card in this matchup we haven't discussed yet that I'm sure Alex is going to want to eye up at some point, and I wonder if this is the turn he feels it needs to come into play.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you feel a little bit safe because there's not really a threat of being knocked out on your next turn. Now, there could be something like a Horror House GX leading into a bigger attack, but for the most part, I don't think you're going to get hit for a knockout. And we see Alex going with this strategy that he goes with a lot. not taking the easy prize cards in the early game could have knocked out Dedenne GX, but wants to spread this damage around and keep that option open for Karate Belt activating later in the game.
Oh, I would have been way too tempted to take those 2 prizes there, Kyle. But Alex playing things wisely here, gonna, put Azul in a tough spot if Azul does ever decide to VMAX either of these Pokemon. And we know how this matchup goes. We know how his deck functions. He's got to put those VMAXs in play.
Definitely. Alex has said that if he gets to Gmax Rapid Flow twice, he feels like he's going to win pretty much every time in this matchup. It's just a matter of whether or not he can do it. Now, this is a big situation for Azul. He does have the opportunity to get Horror House GX on this turn. If he's able to pair this with perhaps Marshadow to discard that Tower of Waters, that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX would be trapped in the active spot for the turn. And then there's no Jirachi GX in play, so there could be a big hit for weakness.
And Azul able to pull off the attachment, finds the switch, and there will be the big Horror House with that additional energy attached. Both players drawing up to 7 cards. Alex unable to play any cards, and Azul does miss out on that Marshadow. So Alex is going to try to save this VMAX if he can, but Azul's got a pretty big hand. Azul's got a couple of Shadow Riders in play that can draw cards. We could definitely see a Boss's Orders, and it's always a little risky to go for a Poltergeist whenever you don't have any previous knowledge of your opponent's hand, but when they've got 8 cards in hand and they're weak to Psychic, you gotta feel pretty okay about going for it.
Yeah, it's still always risky, right? You would need half or more of their cards to be trainer cards still. 3 would only be 300 for Poltergeist, which is not enough to knock out Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, so you're hoping that your opponent has 4 trainer cards. Obviously, we can see that there's 5, so it would be a guaranteed knockout if you already knew that information, but I think Azul is going to do whatever he can to try to attack with something besides Gengar and Mimikyu GX here. If he can get a Max Geist knockout, a guaranteed knockout, that would be much preferred.
And if he can do it with this Shadow Rider that has no damage counters on it as well, that would be huge. We see the boss, and he's got the Poltergeist, does not have the switching cards, and is able to still deal 500 damage. He just went for it, Kyle, and it paid off.
2 energy, 500 damage, not bad.
That's pretty efficient, if you ask me. And Alex, I think, would agree with that statement, though he may not be very happy about it. He does have the Air Balloon in hand. It's a little awkward because that Drizzle in the active, you mentioned this earlier on in this tournament. It is not a Rapid Strike Pokemon at the moment, so it cannot retreat for free with the Tower of Waters. And Alex here is going to hold off on putting the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX in play, maybe just wanting to go for 100 Furious Blows here. Doesn't really want to risk just getting that 3 prize Pokemon easily KO'd.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. If you put down Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX this turn, all it takes is 1 knockout from Azul and the game's over. So if you can do it this way, attack with Rapid Strike Urshifu V, you put yourself in a decent spot. The only problem is he doesn't have a second Rapid Strike Urshifu V ready to go. So if this one gets knocked out, he has no backup attackers. And what are you going to do on your next turn? How do you follow up and actually take knockouts?
He's going to just go in with the 100 Furious Blows, hit pretty hard. Alex is in a position where if Azul doesn't get this knockout, he could win the game next turn. But Azul is going to do everything he can to pick up this KO. Max Geist needing, I believe, 7 energies in play. They're already there, so if he can find the switching card and just get 1 more energy onto a Shadow Rider, that'll be the KO. There's the switching card in the Air Balloon, just needs to find an energy off of this Professor's Research, and there it is, Kyle, on the Underworld door. Also gonna draw a couple of cards, and Azul is certainly in the driver's seat in this one. After this KO, Alex will have no attackers in play.
Yep, and that was kind of the gamble that Alex had to take. He just had to hope that Azul wouldn't be able to draw into a switching card plus an energy. Now that he has, I mean, I don't want to say the game's over, but it looks pretty ugly, right? It's going to be at least 2 turns until Alex can get another Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX up and running, and that's really the only attacker here that could bail him out. maybe he can pull off something with a reset stamp and, you know, your boss's orders out something big, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, especially not with that top deck. Urshifu VMAX not helpful at this point, and you can get one trainer card out of the deck with Shady Dealings, but Alex recognizes that's not quite going to be enough, and Alex is going to go ahead and concede this game, and Azul Garcia Griego wins game number 1 in Grand Finals, well on his way to trying to reset the bracket and force another best of 3, but Alex is still going to try to win 2 more games.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen Azul go for a big poltergeist against Alex in this tournament and have it pay off. That was really the difference in the game. If he uses poltergeist and doesn't get a knockout, I think Alex probably has enough time to win that game. But when you get that one-hit knockout for 3 prize cards, it just changes the entire complexion of the game.
Definitely, and I mean, I think Azul definitely would have preferred to go with a max Geist this that turn, since it was guaranteed, you know, if you got the energy in play, but he just didn't get enough energy, didn't get the energy or the switch card, whatever piece was missing of that puzzle, and is able to close the game out. The Poltergeist coming in clutch, Kyle. Now we're going to move into this next game. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Will Azul... If Azul wins this game, we're going to a brand new best of 3. But if Alex wins, we'll go to a 3rd game here in the Grand Finals.
That's right. We do see Alex starting off with Jirachi GX. Not the ideal starter, but you want to have it on your bench eventually anyway, so not the end of the world. The problem here is he's only going to be able to get 1 additional basic Pokemon down this turn, and no energy attachment. So this is... as far as things go, or I guess you can just go for Dedenne GX and hope to draw 6 new cards that are way better.
I mean, it's tough. You've got supporters in hand for next turn. You could get a, you know, decent basic Pokemon in play, either Urshifu or Sobble here, but Alex really, I think, valuing the energy attachment. You mentioned how that was missing from this hand, and I got to think that if he wants to go in with Dede Change, that's really what he's valuing here, Kyle. Let's see if he can draw it off the Dede Change. There's the energy, and there's Pokemon Communication, so the Dede Change pays off, but the hand outside of these 6 cards, not very strong.
Yeah, not looking good. He's not going to have any options next turn unless Azul plays a Marnie or he top decks something big. I think I can understand the reasoning here. If Azul was able to go Gengar and Mimikyu GX and use that Horror House GX, it would have put Alex in a terrible position if he had no energy in play. So it hurts to Dede Change, throw away all those supporters, and you kind of crossing your fingers you draw something good off those 6 cards, but sometimes you just got to go for it.
Oh no, Kyle, Azul has prized his 1 copy of the Dedenne GX. I gotta think that's what he was eyeing up here. And still has the Crobat, so you can draw a couple cards with the Dark Asset, but I think Azul was definitely just gonna be looking to dump this hand and try to get a new one that was much better to work with. Now it's gonna just be, what, 3 or maybe 4 cards, depending on how many he wants to play out of this hand?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to play the reset stamp, right?
Yeah.
Your opponent only has 3 cards in hand. And yeah, I think the unfortunate part is, he's just going to go for a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX.
He's got 4 seconds here. Got to make a decision.
Ooh,
that always gets a little risky there whenever the timer starts counting down, because I'm pretty sure if you don't have anything suggested, it just fails your search for you or takes whatever's in the box right away. So it
fails.
It fails it, yeah. So, I mean, you definitely don't want to fail your Pokemon Communication, but as we saw, Alex did not get any help on the top deck, and Azul here gonna be in a fine spot, honestly, if he can find a switch card.
Yeah, if a switch or an air balloon there would have been massive. A Night Watch to take away Alex's only 2 cards and get an attack in for some big damage, but doesn't find it, and no supporter card for Azul. This is rough.
Both of these players not really setting up quite as well as they would like, but Azul the one who's able to do a little more, really just thanks to how great Underworld Door is. Can still get an energy attachment this turn, and I mean, Alex is still, I guess got the Sobble down last turn, right? So we'll be able to utilize Drizzle's Shady Dealings, get a trainer card, probably just a research to draw through the deck a bit more, but this is a big potential opportunity for Azul that he's just not able to capitalize on.
Yeah, kind of heartbreaking for both players. They have to essentially just pass through their second turn of the game. And now Alex, I think, is going to be the one with a slight advantage if he's able to pull off an attack this turn. The Drizzile is bailing him out, getting the Professor's Research, can draw in there. We do see Air Balloon plus the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. So we will see an attack this turn, and Alex is going to start spreading that damage around.
Azul does play one copy of Path to the Peak in his deck. Now, it's a little awkward because obviously it shuts off your Underworld Door ability, but the other thing it shuts off, Kyle, is the Psychic Zone ability on Jirachi GX. That's maybe something Azul would be looking for in this spot to try to get a big weakness hit off on the Rapid Strike Urshifu. It's still going to be pretty tough, especially with the hand he's working with, but only one top deck away from really being able to try to make something happen here. Oh, well, not that one.
All right, well, we do see Underworld Door, big 2 cards, and he misses again. Now, he could attach to the active Retreat and use Night Watch, but this feels really bad at this point. Alex decided to go for the Gale Thrust, said, no, I don't want to discard my energy just yet. I don't think I'm going to get knocked out, which ended up being the correct play, I think. But this is a huge Night Watch. If he wants to go for it, he could Pale Moon GX, though.
Is he going to do it, Kyle? It's an interesting spot. I mean, we
I don't mind it.
Okay, gonna go with the Night Watch. I mean, I think if there's a turn to go... Oh my gosh, what a hit!
He hits the
It's
Professor's
both
Research.
of the supporters.
Whew. Okay, now there is Inteleon, though. So, perhaps not the biggest hit, but if he would have hit Research plus Inteleon, that would have been devastating for Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Alex is still going to be fine this turn. Yeah, the Pale Moon GX is really interesting because you guarantee that your opponent is not going to use Gmax Rapid Flow in the next turn, but it's just so tempting to go, oh, I could take away all your cards. If you could just hit your opponent, leave him with a dead hand, you just get a free win sometimes.
With those energies still attached, we could see the Rapid Flow this turn here. And, I mean, with all these 3 prize Pokemon in play, already the benched Shadow Rider so heavily damaged, and now so much damage going on to the active here. 100 thanks to resistance, but still 170 damage away from being KO'd. This is the exact situation Alex Schemanske wants to find himself in.
Yep, if you're Azul, you hate to see it, but, oh man, once again, no supporter card. Does have Crobat V this time, so could see something. And this is, I think, the turn where that Pass to the Peak could be huge. It would be a Night Watch KO, taking 2 cards out of Alex's hand. Without it, I don't know if Azul's going to get a knockout this turn. And with such a large hand, Night Watch isn't going to be very disruptive.
Azul does only play 1 copy of the card. He just really wants it at very specific times, but with no way to search for it. You gotta get a little lucky to draw into it. Does not find it here, but finds Professor's Research, can dig through the deck quite a bit more, and still gives himself a chance to draw that card.
Definitely. Now, we do see that the Mewtwo and Mew GX is also prized for Azul. You've been talking about it a bit with that Miraculous Duo GX. Healing off all the damage if you can get 4 energy on there. Looks like that won't be an option for Azul this game. That could have been a game changer, you know, healing off all the damage that Alex has already done. But we'll see what he decides to go for. We do see the Pass to the Peak is in the deck, I believe. So we'll see a big Professor's Research. The question I have is, do you play the Reset Stamp here? I don't think it's going to get any better than this, right? Your opponent has more than 6 cards in hand, so might as well.
Yeah, might as well put him down to -1 card, I feel like. If you had specific card knowledge, it would make the decision a little easier. Not like if you knew your opponent, you know, Inteleon for something specific last turn, but Azul's going to go ahead and do it, and does hit the Path to the Peak, Kyle. This is the exact turn he needed to find it.
Okay, yeah, the question is, does he want to go for it? It is potentially disruptive to him as well, but it lets him get a knockout this turn, and could put down the Alcremie V, which would then threaten a knockout on the next turn with Gmax Whisk. So you could see how this could play out. And yeah, he's going to go for it. Pass to the Peak.
There it is. Does shut off his own underworld door, and something interesting as well, kind of surprising to be honest, Azul discarded both copies of his Marshadow. Had a decent opportunity there before the research to just put one on the bench so that if he drew the path to the peak, he'd be able to bump it on the next turn. You know, he really just wants it for key turns like this to be able to hit for weakness. Is going to be able to put them both back with the Ordinary Rod, but now has to find them in order to get his abilities back.
All right, we'll see what the hits are from this Night Watch. Does hit the VMAX and Evolution Incense. Those are important cards. And we'll see how this affects Alex's upcoming turn. He does have the Tower of Waters to get rid of that pass to the peak, get that out of there, say no thank you. I would like my weakness protection to come back. But we'll see what Alex can pull off here.
Azul did find that Mewtwo and Mew GX off the prize card, so even though Miraculous Duo wouldn't be able to, be hitting for weakness, the path to the peak already being discarded, it is still a potential option for Azul to try to heal all of this damage that Alex has been building up. So Alex here, I think, going to be trying to find a way to get value from how much damage is in play, maybe on this turn to play around that potential. I actually, being closed deckless, I don't know, has Alex even seen the Mewtwo yet? That might not even be something he's considering.
Yeah, who knows? That might be the first time he saw the path to the peak as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things like at a tournament, at this point in the finals, you'd get kind of an idea from your friends, like, Azul, sure, at some point in the tournament, one of his friends would have played against Alex and he'd be like, hey, does he have anything spicy in his list, anything I should be looking out for? And the same thing would be said for Alex, but being a limited 8-person tournament and also closed deck lists, those things are not as well known as they may have been previously.
Yeah, and now a tricky choice for Alex. I think he'll probably end up attacking here with Gale Thrust, but it is kind of nerve-wracking. Your hand size is very low. Your opponent could just Night Watch and take away all your cards, but this does set up for a game-winning G-Max Rapid Flow on the following turn. So this is going to be a big one from Azul. If he gets, well, he can get the third Shadow Rider in play. We know the Mewtwo and Mew GX is in the deck. We could see
it, Kyle.
Yeah, we could see the Miraculous Duo GX to heal off all the damage.
I mean, that would be huge if Azul could do it. Is going to go ahead and Fog Crystal here, eyeing up the Gengar and Mimikyu. Maybe just wants to put it on the bottom of the deck from the Marnie. But I feel like getting your Mewtwo here to have a target, if you're going to go for that play, seems pretty good.
All right, yeah, we'll see what Azul wants to do here. Now, one thing he could do is go with Horror House GX. He can switch into the Gengar and Mimikyu GX, and it'll buy him an extra turn to get more energy in play. So this will set up, he can't get a Max Geist knockout this turn. He would be 1 energy short if he got every ability usage this turn. But if he can buy that 1 extra turn, he knows Alex won't be able to play any cards from hand, which means there's no G-Max Rapid Flow threat. And this could set Azul up to get a Max Geist victory on the next turn.
Yeah, this is actually really smart from Azul, taking his time, knowing that he has this opportunity, can buy a turn with the Horror House GX, gets plenty of Fog Crystals to find the Psychic Energy, does need 11 energy in play, but Kyle, there's already 9, and with the 2 Fog Crystals, as long as Azul can find a switching card on the next turn, there's an Air Balloon and a Switch in the deck. Those are going to be the key cards we need to look out for. Can go ahead and Underworld Door to draw a little more. Doesn't want to thin an energy out here, wants to draw into those potentially, so not holding off on that Fog Crystal, and it's going to be on that Fog Crystal next turn to draw cards with the Underworld Door, but there is potential that Azul could get enough damage in play to 1-hit KO Urshifu, and I wonder if Alex will play around this fact. Alex can't attack, but he could still retreat.
Yeah, he could attack. He just can't play any cards. I would say Gale Thrust would be a bad idea. But yeah, so I like this because it forces Azul to have boss's orders as well to close out the game, whereas Alex can still Karate Belt plus Rapid Strike energy on the next turn, even discarding those 2 energy to retreat. So this could be the game right here. If Azul draws into an Air Balloon or a Switch, we just see Max Geist, and I think that's game.
That's the last piece of the puzzle he needs here. He's got enough energy off of this. Can also find energy to keep drawing. Doesn't find the switch yet, but can still keep drawing, Kyle. There's 2 outs remaining in the deck. If he hits either of them, that's going to be the game here. And I mean, this is it. This is the only play he has. He's got to go for it. 2 cards remaining that are outs. 11 cards in deck. Does he find it, Kyle? There it is. Oh. Air Balloon will move Gengar Mimikyu to the bench, and Max Geist will deal enough damage to pick up the KO, and Azul Garcia Griego has reset the bracket. We're going to another best of 3 set.
He pulled it off. Alex takes his first loss in quite a while in the Players' Cup. And yeah, this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see more Pokemon TCG action. The stakes are as high as they could get. The bracket reset, and we'll see if Alex can shake it off and maybe pull off the win here now that he's down in the loser's bracket with Azul.
And let's take a look at that bracket. As you see, the grand finals reset. Azul knocking Alex down to the loser's bracket. Both of these players technically now loser bracket players, now just 1 match away from securing themselves a victory, becoming the Invitational champion, and then of course an opportunity to play that final boss in the exhibition match. Kyle, I mean, it doesn't get more exciting than this. It comes down to this final set, grand finals reset. Let's get down to the table. Who do you like after those 2 games that we've seen, Kyle?
You got to feel good about Azul's chances after that. 1-2-0, but you could see both games were extremely close, and it was just 1 attack being the difference between a win and a loss for Alex. So I think it's anybody's game. Azul starting off with Crobat V and a full house. 3 Juniper and 2 Boss's Orders. Not the best.
Looks like Azul's playing the wrong card game here. Not the best hand that he wants to go for, but gets maybe a little bailed out. Doesn't get an energy attachment, but can get 2 Shadow Riders in play, so it ends up not being too terrible.
Yeah, and I think starting with Crobat V, you can't even consider playing down to Dene GX here. It's just too many free prize cards for your opponent as the game progresses. So just has to accept that, yeah, I'm not going to attach energy this turn. My hand is not great, and just gonna pass.
Yeah, I actually wonder if Alex even wants to KO something like the Crobat. I mean, maybe if Azul put both of them down, both Crobat and Dedenne, you would go for those 4 prizes. But it feels like Alex's overall game plan has been to just target down 2 3-prize Pokemon, be it either a tag team or 2 VMAXs, and try to just get the knockout on those Pokemon via Gmax Rapid Flow.
Yeah, that's definitely been his strategy so far, but just like with any game of the Pokemon TCG, your strategy can change based on what your opponent does, based on opening hands, all sorts of things. So you always gotta play it by ear and adapt to the situation. We do see Alex favoring getting that Jirachi GX into play right away in this game. I think got a little burned in game 1 of that last series where he opted to go for another Rapid Strike Urshifu V instead of Jirachi GX. So this time saying, nope, I'm not letting that happen again. And does play the Marnie, which could be awkward for Azul as he now has to put 2 more Professor's Research on the bottom of his deck.
Yeah, 2 research on the bottom and 1 in the discard pile. Azul's going to be maybe struggling a little bit to draw cards. We see he's got a quick ball in that hand, but Crobat's in the active, and we saw that Azul likes to prize his Dedenne GX apparently in that last set, so there's a chance his hand could be a little stuck. Alex getting another Sobble in play there is excellent, really what he wanted to see, and now on to Azul's side of things. Gonna play that quick ball, it looks like, and eyeing up, I would assume, Dedenne GX.
Looks like that is what's going to be the play here, and it is unfortunate. You do not want to give your opponent all these prize cards with these kind of low HP Pokemon V and Pokemon GX, but sometimes it's all you can do, and just draws into a Marnie of his own, which, I mean, Alex had a pretty perfect hand. He had 2 evolutions ready to play, plus a Marnie, and we'll see if Azul can get things kicked off here with Underworld Door.
One of the strongest abilities in the game, Kyle, maybe in the history of the game, honestly. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I mean, if you look at the history of the Pokemon trading card game, consistently the best abilities do one of 2 things: draw you cards or attach extra energy for you. Things like, you know, Deluge Blastoise, trade on Zoroark GX. And Underworld Door is really kind of a combination of both of those things. Energy acceleration, extra card draw. No wonder it's been so popular, and no wonder it's gotten Azul to this point in the tournament.
Yeah, it's extremely powerful. Of course, it is limited. You can only put energy onto Psychic-type Pokemon, so it does limit the kind of decks you can build with it. But yeah, in a pure Psychic-type deck like this, every turn you get to attach extra energy, draw extra cards, which means you draw into more Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, which means you get to use another ability, and it's just like Zoroark GX, when once you got one trade going, you got two going, and then you got three going, and then before you knew it, you had every card in your deck in your hand.
They just find each other, it seems. You just kind of get rolling, and it can be tough to deal with. Alex here with an interesting choice. Could take this KO, but he really loves playing his deck in general from behind. So it's the two prizes that's pretty easy to take, but ultimately I wonder if it's really what Alex wants to do.
Looks like he's saying yes. We could see the Gale Thrust here. It'll be a knockout. It's funny. I think Alex, if he had the choice, he would say, I don't want to apply weakness on this attack. Can I just do 150?
Yeah, can we just leave this with a little HP left? I don't want this prize. I don't want to take this knockout, but I think Azul would definitely prefer this be the case in this instance. I mean, it is unfortunate to lose a couple prizes, but at this point, even though this is a closed deckless tournament, I gotta feel like Azul is assuming that Alex is playing pretty close to, if not the exact same list that he played in Players Cup 4, and that list is public, so I'm sure Azul is being very well aware of what Alex is gonna have access to.
Yep, so now Azul, I think it's pretty clear how he's got to approach this with the two prizes from Crobat V, and then there's going to be two more from Dedenne GX. You want to evolve all of your Shadow Rider up into VMAX and make it so that Alex has to knock out at least one VMAX to win this game. You don't want to bench any other two prize Pokemon that could be liabilities later. Thankfully, Shadow Rider Calyrex V is difficult for this deck to knock out. So even if he doesn't hit another VMAX this turn, he won't be in any danger of giving up that knockout. But I won't be surprised if the only Pokemon he benches from here on out are tag teams.
Azul has an interesting choice here. There is enough energy in play. He could attach to the active and Boss's orders to chase that Jirachi GX. And if Azul can hit for weakness through the rest of this game, if that Psychic Zone ability is no longer a factor, he could be in a really good spot. But I think he does want to find the other Shadow Rider VMAX, like you mentioned, Kyle. So he may go with the Marnie route for that reason.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he wants to go for. It does still set him up to go, knock out a VMAX, and then you got to think Alex is going to put another Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX in play, and then maybe at some point we see that Path to the Peak come down and get the last big surprise knockout. But just going to see Max Geist here for 160, setting up a two-hit knockout, and because Alex did take that first knockout, he's in a bit of an awkward position in terms of karate belt usage and all that.
Yeah, he's got both his karate belts in play, but with big red X's over them, unable to be utilized since they are only active when your opponent has fewer prize cards remaining than you. Does find a research, not quite the, high five worthy 7-card empty hand research, but gonna go ahead and Evolution Incense and does find a replacement Urshifu. Also gets a couple Rapid Strike energy to work with, but maybe eyeing up Inteleon here. We've talked about this a lot. You get way more value out of Inteleon the quicker you get it into play, and it looks like Alex agrees with that. And now could be a turn for a G-Max Rapid Flow.
Looks like he is gonna go for it. Gonna see quick shooting, and the nice thing about how this is played out is Alex can G-Max Rapid Flow here, and then on the next turn, Azul's probably gonna knock out his VMAX, and then that means Alex will be behind on prize cards again, which would enable that karate belt that's sitting on the bench, Rapid Strike Urshifu V. So even though he did go ahead at the beginning, Azul is gonna go back in the lead on prize cards, and it's going to reactivate that karate belt.
Definitely makes things a little tricky for Azul to play around. And this is kind of unfortunate here off the Marnie. Does not draw into any energy. I'm sure that's what he was looking for. Wanted to get some acceleration here with the Underworld Door. Is going to get the VMAX, however, so can kind of prevent himself from easily losing the game right away. But with a couple of Intellions in play, that damage can get built up really quick, especially when you add in the throwing coach ability.
Yeah, and that means he doesn't even get a knockout here. He's 10 short.
Oh, wow, yeah.
No energy attachment. 160 plus 160 is 320. That's going to be 10 short. It is going to be a little awkward for Alex because that means he doesn't get to Karate Belt, but he's already got the tower in play, can just retreat. And yeah, this is going to turn into a very weird game.
This is definitely going to turn into a really weird game. Now 320 damage on Alex's active. Has a communication, can get the other VMAX in play, but those red X's remain over the Karate Belts, Kyle. We're not going to see a Gmax Rapid Flow this turn. No way to pull it off. There's no, like, you know, I mean, some people have done crazy things to try to make Rapid Flow happen much easier. I've seen people playing Tapu Koko and Lightning Energies in their deck. Now, more recently, Galarian Moltres, Dark Energies, and Energy Switch has been a popular choice for some players with their Rapid Strike Urshifu. But Alex here, just relying on those Karate Belts, and when your opponent doesn't take prizes, you don't get to utilize it.
Yeah, so I think Alex is trying to figure out how to go about this now. He probably expected his active Pokemon to get knocked out, and it wasn't. So now you kind of have to recalibrate when you're like, oh, that's not what I expected to happen. We could see him get a third quick shooting Inteleon in play, and boy, that adds up quickly when you have so many.
Yeah, just those quick shootings build up so quickly the more you have in play, and that makes things much easier. And Alex kind of hovering over the done button here, doesn't want to reset Azul's hand. And let's see if Azul can top deck something useful. It's an Evolution Incense, which is not amazing. And Kyle, I wonder if Azul even wants to take this KO at this point. He can't, right? If he does, the game's just over. I think we're going to see the Evolution Incense just checking the deck here. It definitely feels like Azul's not going to be able to take this KO. Azul cannot attack here. If he does, Alex has the Urshifu. Alex has the Karate Belt ready to go. He's just eyeing up the Alcremie VMAX, just wants to thin it out of the deck here with Evolution Incense. And checking through, just wants to make sure he's aware of all the options he has available, what he possibly could be working with. Has an air balloon for a pivot, but if he could have drawn just a Psychic Energy, just a supporter for turn, we could have seen a Miraculous Duo even, and that would have been a huge, huge swing. But now Azul, I mean, just debating. I think it's got to be a pass here. Really no other choice. It feels so bad to not take the prizes, but attacking means you just lose the game. Alex has it already set up, and even still, I think Alex has got it. There it is, the Fighting Energy, the Retreat, and G-Max Rapid Flow will pick up the KO, taking 5 prizes, only needing 4 to win the game, and there it is. Alex Schemanske closes it out, winning his first game in this Grand Finals, and we're going to have to go to a Game 2.
All right, and Alex is going to take game number 1. Yeah, that was just well played by Alex. You can see both of these players are at the top of their games right now. Now with each one of them taking games in either series, Alex has got to be feeling pretty good after winning game number 1 in this bracket reset after losing 2 straight to Azul, but it's still anybody's game.
Oh, it definitely is, but winning game 1 here, obviously a huge advantage for Alex. Just needing to win 1 game where Azul has to win these next 2. These are vital, Kyle. If Azul loses either game, you know, this one first off, then the tournament's over. Alex will win. Alex will be our 25th anniversary champion, and he will be the one to go on to fight our final boss. Let's get down to the table and see what's going to happen here in game number 2. Will Azul be able to fight back and force a game number 3? Or is Alex going to be victorious and move on to that final boss battle?
We'll see what happens here. I mean, it all comes down to this, right? But this is not unfamiliar territory for Azul. He already had to battle back from the loser's bracket. He already knew he had to win twice, so what's winning 2 more games?
Yeah, it's just another game of Pokemon. And I mean, obviously, as well as we looked at Azul's journey through this tournament, so many of his games were 2-1s. Either he lost 2-1, he won 2-1, and so he's comfortable playing from behind if he has to. This hand is not great, Kyle, but he can at least get another Shadow Rider down this turn and has the VMAX ready to draw some cards.
I feel like we see this so much from Azul, just awkward hands at the beginning of the game. I don't know what it is with his deck list, but I guess when you are playing cards like Path to the Peak that only have very specific uses, you're going to draw some of those cards in your opening hand sometimes, and it's going to lead to weird situations. Same with Reset Stamp, great card, but only good later in the game. But I wonder if he's going to go for another Shadow Rider, or if he kind of takes a risk and maybe searches for like a Trevenant and Dusknoir GX, tries to set up for a turn 2 Night Watch. Could also grab something like Mewtwo and Mew GX. But needs to do something.
Yeah, just kind of letting the timer tick down there feels a little weird, but it's just kind of, normally you take time to think when you're like searching your deck. Yeah. I think he should know he's playing this Fog Crystal regardless, right? But yeah, gonna go ahead and search the deck now. Take a moment here, and it looks like it will be Shadow Rider as the grab. Not going with the Trevenant and Dusknoir. That could have been a really interesting choice, to be honest. Putting a tag team in play, it's got so much less HP than these VMAXs. It makes it much easier for Alex to execute his normal strategy. So a little bit of an awkward situation potentially, which might be why we see Azul going with just the other Shadow Rider. But honestly, either option could have been really good.
Yeah, Alex with an excellent start. Is going to have a couple level balls to go grab some Sobble. Has Pokemon Communication to grab Rapid Strike Urshifu V, and a Professor's Research to top it off. Can't quite play his entire hand out, but hey, they can't ask for much better than this.
Certainly a good-looking hand. No high fives awarded today. It does have to discard that Reset Stamp as well, which is always something that's kind of annoying to see in the opening hand. It's there as your comeback option. It's a really great one-of trainer, but when it just hits the discard early, it's not great. And Alex here is going to hold off on benching that Sobble, maybe keeping the Pokemon in a hand in case he top decks something like Pokemon Communication, potentially. Normally, you really want to get a bunch of those Sobbles in play very quickly so that you can start building into multiple Drizzles.
Terrible draws from Azul. No supporter. He does draw into Crobat V, but that's not even going to be very helpful. In order to even use it effectively, he's going to have to burn a lot of cards. He could play his switches, play the Path to the Peak, then Resetting Hole it away. Could play a Reset Stamp. He's having to do all these things, burn all these resources just so he can use Crobat V to draw some extra cards. But it does mean he has to put down Crobat V, which is never a great feeling against Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX deck.
Gonna go ahead and get a pretty nice dark asset for 6 cards and finds a pretty good 6 cards here, Kyle. Another VMAX, another Shadow Rider V, an energy to accelerate potentially, or even attach for turn if he wants to attack as opposed to just drawing more cards. This is definitely a lot to work with, and even has a Marnie as well.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot because I don't think you can get a knockout on this Dedenne GX. And if you're not going to do that, I mean, attacking into it for a little bit of damage doesn't seem like a great play either. I think you would love to, well, he does have boss's orders. He could potentially go after that Rapid Strike Urshifu V on the bench, but he wasn't able to find another Psychic Energy. We'll see how aggressive he wants to be. He could grab Dedenne GX, Dede Change, try to draw another energy. But yeah, I think Horror House GX is going to put him at a pretty big advantage here if Azul's able to pull it off this turn.
Yeah, I think regardless, he's almost kind of committed at this point to... Oh, no, he still hasn't played a supporter, so he can still go with the Marnie. I was thinking he was going to commit to Dede Change, which definitely feels a little risky, like you said, putting both of those fighting weak 2-prize Pokemon in play, but he is going to go for it. Look at this, Kyle.
I like it. It's aggressive. If he draws the Psychic Energy, it's a knockout. He's got a bunch of Psychic Energy in his deck. And there's no Jirachi GX on the bench for Alex, so it's going to be Max Geist for the knockout, taking a 2-prize lead. But the big thing is there's no Rapid Strike Urshifu V on the bench for Alex. So there's no chance of seeing a G-Max Rapid Flow or really any relevant attack on this turn.
I wonder if we could get to a position where Azul's just able to consistently target down these Rapid Strike Urshifus before they evolve. And I actually think this is the second VMAX to hit the discard pile for Alex, potentially. That's a big... I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure one did hit the discard pile on turn 1, though. So that is a big loss if Alex is down several VMAXs. Yeah, just one left in the deck.
Yeah, and this is the situation you hate to be in when you're playing this Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX deck in this matchup. You have no way to attack for damage this turn. Your opponent's going to keep snowballing that advantage, keep using Underworld Door, getting more energy in play, and every turn that goes by where you don't do some damage, it's just a turn where you're going to fall behind. He also could have gotten something like Karate Belt plus Rapid Strike Energy to attack with that Rapid Strike Urshifu V, missed out on that as well. And with the fighting resistance, Strafe doesn't do any damage, so this is just kind of a wasted turn for Alex. And Azul's going to be in the driver's seat for sure.
Yeah, in the driver's seat with boss's orders in the passenger seat, most likely. That is a tasty option, I feel like, but not with no energy drawn. If Azul could have gotten an energy top deck or even like a fog crystal to get an energy, he can start to just build on this large hand that he already has. But as it stands now, he's probably going to have to eye up either a Research or a Marnie here, since there's no other way to really draw cards. A boss's orders this turn could have been huge, though. Just doesn't look like he'll be able to capitalize.
Definitely, and I think Azul's trying to figure out which of these Pokemon can I discard or put to the bottom of my deck? Which ones do I not care about? As cute as the Mars Shadow is, probably not going to be useful in this matchup. And I would guess we'll see Professor's Research here. Just you want to draw as many cards as you can, especially because your opponent only has 3 cards in hand, and you just want to draw Psychic Energy, use Underworld Door as much as you can, because if you get to that magic number of 11 energy in play, even with the Jirachi GX, there's nothing Alex can really do.
And I think we're seeing Azul set up better in this game than we've seen any other game in this set so far. This is looking great, Kyle. The two fighting weak Pokemon on the bench, the Dedenne and the Crobat, is a little unfortunate, but whenever the reason they're in play is because Azul was going aggressive, and now we're looking at the Mewtwo getting benched, and that might start to get some of these energies from Underworld Door. So even if Alex goes for that G-Max Rapid Flow, spreads some damage out there, that's exactly what Azul is A-okay with, because now he can heal that damage with a Miraculous Duo.
Yep, we see Azul quickly thinning out as many cards as he can. That's an important thing to do here. Just take out all these basic Pokemon so you don't draw them and evolutions, so that when you Underworld Door, you are more likely to draw into more Psychic Energy, and there you go, another Psychic Energy. Those could have been those Pokemon he just pulled out of the deck if he hadn't done that. So those are the little things you have to do with these kinds of decks, with any deck really. And I mean, look at this position Azul's in. He's just got loads of energy. That poor Sobble is going to get destroyed by Max Geist.
More than enough damage. 250. Sobble's only got 60 HP, so just a little bit of extra damage. Sobble's going to have to spend some extra time at the Pokemon Center after that one, Kyle, because that is a lot of damage. And Azul in a position where he might just be able to snowball this game out of control. Only 8 cards remaining in deck. Now a little bit more thanks to that Marnie. And looks like Alex agrees that Azul's position is just too strong here. Going to concede. And we're going to a game 3 here in the bracket reset. Kyle, it really just does not get more exciting than this.
Can't ask for anything more. Yeah, Alex plays the Marnie, looks at his 5 cards and says, let's go to the next one. And we'll see how this is going to go. Like you said, Chip, the stakes don't get much higher than this. We have a bracket reset. We have one final game to go to decide our champion. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Players' Cup 3 champion Azul or the Players' Cup 4 champion Alex?
Hey, Alex has been my guy through this tournament. Azul's a friend of mine, but I think I got to stick with Alex on this one. Alex has played very, very well, and he will be a little advantaged here, getting to go first in this third and final game. Let's get down to the table and see what will happen. How is this going to play out, Kyle? I assume Alex will be going first, and if he can get a good start, you know, get an Urshifu in play, get an energy on it, find a couple Sobbles. If he can get a start like that, it's going to be hard for Azul to do too much. And speaking of which, that looks like a decent hand to get some Sobbles down. Maybe an energy on the top one time. Not this time.
Another Sobble's not bad, though. Yeah, this is all you can really ask for when you're going first. Getting a bunch of basic Pokemon down, you have a supporter card in your hand for the next turn, and just set yourself up for success. The Quick Ball is a little awkward. I guess you can discard one of your evolutions just to get another basic into play. Feels bad when you have to throw away a card that you would just want to play next turn anyway. But it really is important to get down as many basic Pokemon as you can in that first turn.
And that Jirachi GX, we see Alex really valuing that. When he hasn't had it in play in this matchup, it has worked very well to Azul's favor. And I think Alex also eyeing up getting down the second Urshifu V makes a lot of sense, because otherwise Azul could just go for a Horror House into a Poltergeist and maybe, or a Horror House into a Max Geist, you know, so many different things where he could deal with this Urshifu really quickly. And if he does that, Alex wouldn't have had a response. So really valuing, even though it would be nice to get another Sobble down, valuing both the Jirachi and the second Rapid Strike Urshifu V.
Yeah, but Azul's going to do a whole lot of nothing on his turn. This hand is horrendous, as has been the trend for Azul so far. He does not have a supporter card again, only is able to get down one Pokemon, and he's in the awkward spot of, I only have one Psychic Energy, I really want to play it, but I need to keep it in hand so I can Underworld Door next turn to draw more cards, and hopefully get myself out of this bind. This is just a miserable start once again, and this is going to mean Alex is in the lead, but Azul's going to go for the Shadow Mist and say, all right, you need to draw basic fighting energy if you want to attack this turn. Oh, look at that. Draws the Rapid Strike energy.
That is huge, Kyle. I mean, exactly the worst. It's kind of like it was the best top deck, and then after Azul went for that attack, it became the worst top deck because you just get no value from it. But that's a huge draw here from Alex. Escape Rope kind of working like a boss's orders in this instance. It gets you your switching card. I guess working more like a Guzma, I should say. Just getting that switching effect and allowing Alex to throw damage down onto this 3-prize Pokemon, which is exactly what he normally wants to do in this matchup.
Yeah, it's your boy Escape Rope coming in clutch. Yeah, that was big because the Shadow Mist also prevented the tower from being played as well. So Alex really needed to draw Escape Rope even to switch out here. Now he does have Drizz. I also could have just searched it out anyway, but this is a big moment in this game. And let's not forget, Azul's hand is completely worthless. He needs to top deck next turn.
Needs a lot of help for sure. Did choose to attach the energy. You talked about how that's like a tough call because that's your only way to, really draw any cards. But you got to attach energy. If you're not putting energy in play, you're never going to be in a winning spot. And there's a Professor's Research. What a huge top deck, Kyle.
I can't believe it. All right, well, looks like we might have a game after all. See a lot of Psychic Energy here, as well as a Quick Ball and a Fog Crystal. Now, this is not the greatest follow-up, but we could see at least Azul do something. It looked like he was all but out of this tournament, and with one top deck, completely changes the course of the game. Now it's a question of what's the best way to sequence this? What do I go for this turn? What am I hoping to draw into? Are you trying to go for Horror House GX? You could do that. You could Fog Crystal for the tag team here, Quick Ball it away, and then just Horror House GX with your active Pokemon. There's a lot of options here, and I honestly don't know what the best route is for Azul.
Yeah, it's certainly feeling pretty awkward at this point. I feel like Horror House can't be a bad decision at this point. It does mean you won't be able to Miraculous Duo, and maybe that's what Azul's a little worried about here, but if you don't go with the Horror House, you're just kind of doing nothing on your turn here, just having to pass and accepting that this Mewtwo goes down. And if it goes down, you have to Ordinary Route it back to even Miraculous Duo. Though I guess based on the way that Alex has played this matchup, maybe Azul is considering the fact that normally Alex does not like to take these prize cards. Taking a 3-prize knockout, being the first one to do that, would almost guarantee Alex could actually never use Karate Belt, most likely.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild situation for Azul. The question is, do you try to go for another Shadow Mist this turn and block Rapid Strike energy from being played? You could potentially stop a G-Max Rapid Flow. But looks like now he's just going to attach to the Shadow Rider V-Max, and that's going to be the turn. No attack for Azul, and that's just an awkward spot to be in.
A really bad position, and now Alex getting things going, playing down that Tower of Waters. Also looks like debating to attach that air balloon, and it will come into play. Evolution Incense can now grab any evolution out of the deck. Could get the VMAX, could get an Inteleon as well to start spreading some damage, or a Drizzile to keep it going.
Yep, Alex has had fantastic starts throughout this tournament. That's just the consistency that this Drizzile and Inteleon engine gives you. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is a pretty low maintenance Pokemon, just need some energy attachments, just need to evolve. No convoluted combos for the most part. So when you just need to search for kind of one energy card per turn and maybe like a switching card per turn, having those Shady Dealings ability are really invaluable and help you out quite a bit. And we do see the Rapid Strike energy for Alex in this situation. He could take the 3-prize knockout here, but that means he probably won't get to use Karate Belt this game.
And Karate Belt is one of Alex's favorite cards in his deck, so it looks like, oh, Kyle, I think he's going for it, taking this 3-prize KO. Did put the Karate Belt in play, but Azul can actually use this to his advantage here and make sure that he never goes down, goes ahead in the prize race, and try to make sure that Alex won't be able to utilize that Karate Belt. But with 170 damage on that Shadow Rider, things are feeling a little tough.
Yeah, I think the issue here is that his Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX is so close to being knocked out. We also saw that Azul's Path to the Peak went to the discard pile early in this game, so there's no real chance of getting a knockout on this turn. With that quick shooting ability, and now that Mewtwo and Mew GX is gone, there's no healing available for Azul. It might just be a matter of time before we see a Gale Thrust or just one more G-Max Rapid Flow at some point. And
yeah,
Alex will be crowned our champion.
Yeah, it's looking really strong for Alex. I think Azul's play here needs to be to find the Ordinary Rod. Try to get that Mewtwo back in. It is still possible to technically pull off the Miraculous Duo here, and if you can get that healing, that would be huge, but it is really unlikely. Azul does have a couple quick balls in hand, so if he wants to go this route, he can thin a lot of cards out of the deck. Would need to, off of a Dead Change, find the Ordinary Rod, and then also find a way to get the Mewtwo, and then also eventually snowball into getting 4 energies in play, which is tough, but it's totally doable.
It is possible, but it's going to take a lot.
Not going to go that route, it looks like.
Yeah, he might be going for Night Watch, just kind of hoping that Alex doesn't draw anything for the rest of the game if he can power up that big attack on that tag team Pokemon. Does have to put another Dedenne, or does have to put Dedenne GX in play, another one of those very fragile Pokemon, and it also needs to draw one more energy card to pull this off from this Underworld door.
Yeah, did draw the Ordinary Rod, so can increase his odds a little bit. Let's see if he puts any Pokemon back, or if it will just be that one basic energy. Hey, that one energy could make all the difference here.
Yeah, at this point, you have to assume if you open up a bench space, it means it's because you've lost. So there we see another energy and another Underworld door. So we are going to see a Night Watch on this turn. Alex's hand currently does have 2 Rapid Strike energy, but no supporter cards or anything. That Level Ball won't help either. So Azul is going to put all of his faith in Trevenant and Dusknoir GX.
And does hit a Level Ball, hits the Rapid Strike energy. That Level Ball actually might be the bigger hit here. Well, I guess with, what a top deck, the Inteleon, able to Shady Dealings for any 2 trainer cards.
Oh, that's such a huge draw. Can Alex win right here? He might have game on board.
Looks like it. We've got the Rapid Strike Energy. We've got the Rapid Strike Urshifu switch, Boss's Orders, and the quick shooting ability from Inteleon will be enough, even through the fighting resistance, to pick up the KO on the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. And just like that, the bracket reset couldn't stop him. Alex Schemanske, no, just short, 10 damage. Oh man, I was building up so much and it's just a little short.
Okay, yeah, so this does present an awkward situation for Alex. So Azul has to knock out Inteleon this turn.
Yes.
So he can't win if it makes it through the turn. Just quick shooting, game over. Alex has 0 cards in hand. All right, and the problem is Azul has to not attack with this active Pokemon because a Gale Thrust would just knock it out. Inteleon does have 150 HP, I believe, so that is in range for a Night Watch knockout. This game could get very weird. Yeah, I thought Alex had won it all, but he was 10 damage short.
Yeah, remind me never to do math while we're casting ever again, please, Kyle.
The resistance changed from -20 to -30. That's all the difference.
Hey, but Azul's doing exactly what he needs to do here. You called it out. Needs to knock out that Inteleon, otherwise he would just lose right away. Alex has a lot of good top decks, things that could draw him cards. A Fighting Energy. Wait, is that it? The Fling! The Fling on Passimian for the win. 20 damage to the bench. Resistance, no problem at all. And there you go. Alex Schemanske, in an improbable way, becomes the Players' Cup 25th Anniversary Invitational Champion. Incredibly well played from Alex. It's been a pleasure to watch his games through all of Players' Cup 4 and now through the Players' Cup Invitational. What a win. What a run. The deck, I mean, Kyle, maybe one of the strongest decks in the standard format right now. And it feels like Alex has really just figured out the optimal list for Rapid Strike Urshifu and Inteleon.
It's hard to argue with results. Won Players' Cup 4, won the Invitational, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX plus Inteleon seems like a great combo if you ask me. But props to Azul for a great run. He did pretty much everything he could in this finals match, just had awkward draw after awkward draw. And I mean, if you look back, he had his opponent down to a 0 card hand, but that's all you can do, right? You put your opponent at 0 cards in hand, sometimes they draw the card they need, and that's the game.